What's good, guys? It's your boy Rosie Q with Pro Delivery Tips, back with another one. And today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my strategy to find the sweet spot, which is where the money is at. And I'm going to be sharing you guys some tips on how I keep myself going and keep the money coming in at a consistent pace, even during these slow times. You know, December to about the end of January is usually a slow time in the delivery gig economy. But it doesn't have to be a slow time for your pockets. So stick around and I'm gonna show you guys how to get this money. Let go. Okay, so to find the sweet spot, it's a 3-step process. The first step is you have to find a profitable zone. So the way you find a profitable zone is you want to find out a zone that has a median income that is above the US average. Once you find that, you want to check the median age of that zone, because you want to make sure that you have people that are in the age range that are going to be ordering from Doordash, Grubhub, or Uber Eats on a consistent basis. So in my market, that's generally people between the ages of 25 and late 30s. Step number 2, you want to find a good section within that zone. So my home zone is broken up into 3 sections. There's the Ohio State section, which is Ohio State campus. There is the Grandview section, which is a middle class neighborhood, and there is the Upper Arlington section, which is an upper class neighborhood. And so generally what you want to see is 2 things within that section. You want to see a high cluster of restaurants, and you want to see a high cluster of residential housing around those restaurants. So generally I look for houses over apartments because it's easier to deliver to houses than it is to deliver to apartments. And the final thing you want to make sure in that section is throughout the day, you want to make sure there's not high levels of traffic within that section. Step number 3. Step number 3 is identifying the sweet spot. What you're going to do is, once you find the high cluster of restaurants, you want to figure out what restaurants are fast restaurants. So you generally will need 5 to 7 for lunch and 5 to 7 for dinner. That's all you really need. And you're going to find restaurants that'll have you in there 5 minutes or less. I generally like restaurants that'll have me 3 minutes or less consistently. And so you'll have to go to a zone or a section for, I'd say, 1 to 2 weeks, just testing out different restaurants. So it's trial and error. You're going to have to fail until you succeed. But eventually you'll find out what restaurants are fast. And then once you got your 5 or 7, you just keep going in there day after day, shift after shift, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then you'll be raking in the guap. So that's it for the strategy. Here are some honorable mention tips that also help you get to this money. Pro tip. When you're looking at your GPS and you're trying to decide what route to take to get to a customer or a restaurant, choose a route that mainly has you turning right versus mainly has you turning left. With a right turn mainly route, you'll be able to turn almost immediately when you get to the light. When there's a left turn route, you'll have to wait at the light, and then you'll have to wait for traffic to clear so you can make your left turn. This will help you save a minute or 2 on each delivery, which at the end of a long 6-8 hour shift could be the difference between getting another 1 to 2 deliveries in. Pro tip. Pro tip. Your income in the delivery economy is largely dependent on how many opportunities you get in front of you, i.e., how many deliveries. Ways you can increase your delivery frequency: switch into a different zone, a zone that may have a college, cluster of apartments, or a cluster of restaurants. Number 2 thing you can do is add more apps. So try a different app out. Maybe a different app is more busy in your area. And 3 is multi-apping. So not only try a different app, but also try 2 or 3 apps at the same time. This will give you the greatest amount of deliveries in front of you, and you'll be able to pick the best orders that'll best suit your income needs. Pro tip. Use breakfast as your beta tester for new zones. You'll be able to learn the layout of that new zone with the least amount of traffic. You'll be able to see what potential restaurants there are for lunch and dinner, and you'll be able to gauge how busy it'll be at lunch and dinner, because if it's busy at breakfast, it's more than likely going to be busy at lunch and dinner. Pro tip. Use the customer app to research new zones. When you go into the customer app, you can put in a city where it's a zone that you would like to work in, and then it'll pull up all the restaurants within that zone. Once you get into that zone, you can see where the location of restaurants are, and then you'll also be able to tell what the delivery estimated time will be for that restaurant. Pro tip.